The stars above Colony 7 shimmered like cold silver dust against the endless black. Humanity's newest outpost rested on the edge of known space, far from Earth, surrounded by silent alien empires that neither welcomed nor trusted them. Life here was harsh but steady. The colonists worked, built, and dreamed under skies untouched by Earth's sun. One evening, a message came from the Galactic Concord, the vast union of alien civilizations that ruled most of the galaxy. To many, the Concord was like a giant that never slept. Their fleets moved across star systems, their laws reached beyond borders, and their pride was larger than any planet. Humanity was small compared to them, but also stubborn. They would not bow, not even when mocked. When the Concord's ship arrived, it was not with weapons. Instead, it carried something that the aliens called a gift. The people gathered in the colony square to see it. The gift was brought forward in a sealed container, a strange crystal cage glowing faintly in the night. The conquered representative, tall and insect-like, spoke in a clicking, hissing voice. "Behold, from the mercy of the Concord we grant you what none other desires, a living being from a forgotten world, an offering so you may know our generosity." The crystal opened. Inside stood a figure, small, thin, and trembling. A girl, though clearly not human. Her skin shimmered faintly with shifting colors, like oil on water. Her eyes glowed faint blue, too large for her narrow face. Her body was fragile, her limbs long and slightly bent, her hands clawed but weak. The crowd gasped. Some looked away, some whispered, some laughed. The alien representative clicked again. "From her people she is considered without value, an imperfection, an ugly thing. She is yours now. Do as you wish." The conquered ship left soon after, its engines burning blue as it vanished into the night sky, leaving the colony with their so-called gift. The girl stood silently, her head lowered. She did not resist when the colonists stared. She was used to it. She had been told since birth that she was ugly, weak, and unworthy. Now she was nothing more than a joke, given away to strangers. The crowd murmured. "What is this supposed to mean? They're mocking us. A punishment, a warning. Look at her. Ugly creature. Why bring her here?" Some wanted to reject her immediately, to send her away into the wastelands of the planet and forget the insult. Others wanted to lock her away so no one would have to look at her. But one man stepped forward. Elias. He was not the strongest man in the colony, nor the most important. He was an explorer, a mechanic, someone who spent more time repairing ships than attending meetings. His eyes, however, were sharp, always searching, always seeing what others missed. He looked at the girl. She stood still, her eyes lowered, shoulders trembling slightly as if waiting for the punishment she had always expected. She looked as though she wanted to disappear. Elias tilted his head. "She's not ugly." The crowd turned to him in surprise. He stepped closer. The girl flinched, but he didn't stop. He bent down, his voice gentle, not mocking like the others. "Hey, can you hear me?" Her glowing eyes flickered up to him, uncertain. "You're beautiful." The words seemed to break, something inside her. She blinked rapidly, confusion and disbelief washing across her fragile face. No one had ever spoken those words to her before. Not once. The colonists muttered in shock. "Beautiful? Are you blind, Elias?" "She looks like a broken shadow. Don't insult us with such lies." But Elias didn't look at them. He kept his gaze on her, calm and steady. "What's your name?" She hesitated. Her voice was small, almost a whisper. Sarai." Elias smiled. "Sarai, that's a good name. Come on, you don't have to stand out here like this." Offered his hand. For a moment she only stared at it. Her claw-like fingers trembled, unsure. Then slowly, carefully, she reached out and touched his hand. The murmurs grew louder. Some shook their heads, walking away in disgust. Others stayed, whispering about how foolish Elias was. but Elias ignored them. He guided Sarai gently away from the square. That night, inside a small workshop filled with tools, broken ship parts, and maps of the stars, Elias gave Sarai a chair and a warm drink. She sat stiffly, still uncertain if she was allowed to exist in this place. He studied her carefully, not with mockery but with curiosity. Her skin shifted in faint colors. Not ugly but strangely beautiful, like starlight caught in moving water. Her glowing eyes reminded him of deep nebulae he had once seen through a telescope. She was different, yes, but not worthless. "Why did they bring you here?" he asked softly. Sarai lowered her gaze. "Because I am nothing. My people see only strength. I am weak. They said I was a mistake. They gave me away because I had no value. To them this is a joke." Her voice broke slightly, but she did not cry. She had long forgotten how. Elias leaned back in his chair, his arms crossed. "Then they're fools. Value isn't something others decide for you. It's something you discover for yourself." She looked at him, confused. "But how? I have nothing. You're alive. That's already something. And I think there's more to you than you realize." Sarai shook her head, not believing him, but something inside her stirred. His words felt strange, almost dangerous, because they were the opposite of everything she had been told before. The next day, the colony council met. Elias brought Sarai with him. The council leader, a stern woman named Captain Doran, looked at Sarai with narrowed eyes. "This creature is not our responsibility. The Conquered mocks us by sending her here. We should send her away before she becomes a burden." Many agreed. The room filled with voices arguing to discard the girl. Elias stood. His voice was steady but firm. "If we send her away, we prove the Conquered right. They think we are weak, that we will treat her as trash, just like they did. But if we keep her, if we give her a place here, then we show them something they do not understand. Humanity does not discard the innocent," the council murmured. Some were moved, others doubtful. Captain Doran frowned. "And what do you suggest, that she becomes a colonist? She is not human. Neither are half the allies we trade with," Elias replied. "What matters is not her origin, but how we treat her." Silence fell. Finally, Doran sighed. "Very well, but she is your responsibility, Elias. If she becomes a problem, you will answer for it." Elias nodded. "Agreed." And so Sarai stayed. That evening, Elias showed her around the colony, the gardens, the workshop, the hangars where ships were repaired. Sarai followed silently, her eyes wide with cautious wonder. Children ran past and stared at her. Some laughed, others whispered. She lowered her head, ashamed. Elias gently placed a hand on her shoulder. "Ignore them. One day, they'll see you as I do." She looked at him, uncertain. "And how do you see me?" He smiled. "As someone who belongs." For the first time in her life, Sarai felt something new. Not fear, not shame, but hope. That night, alone in the workshop, Sarai stared at the sky through the wide glass window. The stars stretched endlessly above her. She whispered, her name softly as if reminding herself she was real. Sarai, no longer the gift no one wanted, no longer just an insult. Perhaps, just perhaps, she could be more. And as the stars glimmered above, she thought of Elias's words, "You're beautiful." The words echoed in her heart like a fragile light. She had been given as a joke, but maybe in the hands of humanity she could become something else, something precious, something strong. The colony of Seven Dawn slowly returned to its daily rhythm after the strange gift from the Conquered. Ships still carried supplies from orbit, workers still repaired machines, and children still ran in the dust under the artificial suns. But whispers of Sarai never stopped. Some called her the alien joke. Others pretended she did not exist. A few were curious, sneaking glances whenever Elias walked with her through the markets. No matter how much she lowered her head, she always felt their stares pressing against her like cold hands. But Elias walked with her openly, never once ashamed. A new life begins. Inside Elias's workshop, Sarai slowly began to find her place. The workshop was messy, tables filled with old tools, walls stacked with spare parts, star charts scattered like paper leaves. The smell of oil, metal, and faint ozone clung to everything. To Elias, it was home. To Sarai, it was the first place where she felt safe. Elias gave her simple tasks at first, sorting bolts into boxes, cleaning dusty maps, or handing him tools while he worked on broken engines. She was clumsy. Her long, fragile fingers dropped things, and once she even spilled an entire box of screws onto the floor. She froze, trembling, expecting him to shout. Instead, Elias chuckled and bent down beside her. "Don't worry, I drop more than you do." She blinked at him, confused. No one had ever laughed kindly at her mistakes. "Here," he said, helping her pick up the screws. "We'll clean it together." Slowly she began to learn. Her hands grew steadier, her eyes sharper. She discovered she had a strange talent for patterns. She could glance at broken machinery and notice small misalignments faster than Elias himself. One day, she pointed at a ship's engine and said softly, "That piece. It should turn this way, not that." Elias tested it, and she was right. He whistled. "You've got an engineer's eye. Better than mine." Sarai lowered her gaze, hiding a small flicker of pride. Lessons in humanity. Elias believed Sarai needed more than work. She needed to learn humanity itself. Each evening after the day's repairs, he sat with her in the workshop and taught her. At first, he showed her how to read human words. Letters and sounds were strange to her tongue, but she tried. Slowly, the shapes became clear, the sounds sharper. Her first full word was hope. She whispered it again and again, as though it carried magic. Elias smiled. "That's a good word to start with." Later, he taught her about human history. Stories of explorers, inventors, and dreamers who had crossed oceans and stars. She listened with glowing eyes, her thin hands clutching the edge of her chair. "Your people," she said one night. "They always move forward, even when others try to stop them." "That's what makes us human," Elias replied. "We don't stop, even when the galaxy laughs at us." For the first time, Sarai felt she understood a little of what humanity was. Not just survival, but courage to move forward when mocked or rejected. The first laughter one afternoon, Elias was repairing a broken loader bot. Its head popped off and rolled across the floor, making a loud clank. Elias groaned, rubbing his forehead. "Not again." Sarai covered her mouth, but a soft sound escaped her. A small laugh. Elias turned, surprised. Her glowing eyes widened, as though she had done something wrong. "You just laughed," Elias said. Sarai lowered her head quickly. I should not. It is improper." "No," Elias said firmly, a smile tugging at his lips. "You should laugh more. It suits you." She hesitated, then let out another small laugh, light and unsure but real. Elias chuckled along with her. For the first time in her life, Sarai discovered that laughter did not have to be cruel. Whispers in the colony, but not everyone approved. Some colonists grew suspicious of Sarai. They whispered that she was a spy for the conquered, placed among them to weaken their resolve. Others said she was cursed and would bring misfortune. Children sometimes threw stones at her when Elias wasn't looking. She never told him. She only hid the small bruises and lowered her head more when walking through the colony. Yet every time Elias smiled at her, every time he called her beautiful or clever, the whispers felt a little less heavy. One evening, a group of colonists argued near the council hall. "Why keep her here?" one man shouted. "She's a symbol of mockery. The conquered gave her as trash, and we keep her as if she's treasure." Another woman shook her head. "Have you not seen? She learns faster than most. Elias says she understands star maps like she was born to them." Lies. the man spat. "She's dangerous. One day she'll betray us." The argument grew, but Elias, hearing it, simply walked away with Sarai. He would not let their hatred poison her progress. A hidden talent one night, while Elias was asleep, Sarai wandered into his star chart room. The glass ceiling revealed the night sky above. She traced the constellations with her glowing eyes. Something stirred within her, a sense of direction, like an instinct written in her blood. She began to move markers across the star maps. When Elias entered the room, rubbing his eyes, he found her rearranging star routes. "What are you doing?" he asked. She froze, panicked. I only wanted to see." He studied the map. To his surprise, her markings made sense. She had drawn a new route through dangerous asteroid fields, one that no human pilot had ever charted. "How did you know this?" Elias asked. I feel it," Sarai admitted, placing her clawed hand over her chest. "The stars, they speak, not in words, in paths, in lines." Elias's eyes widened. "You can read the stars." Sarai lowered her head. "Does that make me less strange?" He shook his head. "No, Sarai. That makes you extraordinary." The first flight Elias decided to test her talent. Together they repaired a small survey ship, one too old and broken for regular use. Sarai worked beside him for days, her long fingers moving carefully across wires and panels. For the first time she felt purpose. When the ship was ready, Elias took her aboard. "Ready?" he asked. Sarai trembled but nodded. The ship lifted into the sky, breaking through the atmosphere into the cold silence of space. Stars spread out before them, infinite and vast. Sarai's glowing eyes widened in wonder. "This," she whispered. "This is freedom." Elias smiled. "Show me your path." She closed her eyes, then pointed. "There." Following her direction, they entered a dense asteroid field. Normally it was impossible to cross without heavy losses, but Sarai guided them smoothly, predicting the drift of stones before they moved. Elias followed her instructions, amazed as the ship slipped safely through. When they emerged on the other side, Elias let out a long breath. "Incredible. You did it." Sarai stared at the stars, her heart racing. For the first time she felt useful. For the first time she felt alive. A gift. Returned that night, Elias surprised her. He activated a projector in his workshop. The walls filled with light as countless stars and constellations shimmered around them. Sarai gasped, her glowing eyes reflecting the light. She reached out her hands as if she could touch them. Elias placed a small control device into her hands. "These stars, they're yours now. Guide them. Shape them. The galaxy tried to call you worthless, but I see what you really are." Sarai's chest tightened. For the first time in her life, tears filled her glowing eyes. She clutched the device tightly. You think I am worth something?" she whispered. Elias nodded. "You're worth more than they'll ever understand." The stars shimmered across the workshop walls, and Sarai stood among them, trembling, but radiant. She had been given away as a joke. Yet here, in this human colony, she was learning to live, to laugh, and to dream. And slowly, she was learning what it meant to be human. The colony of Seven Dawn had grown used to Sarai's presence. Months had passed since the Conquered left her as their gift. In the beginning, people whispered about her, laughed at her, or ignored her. But time had changed things. Some still distrusted her, but others noticed her talents. She could see patterns in machines, pathways in the stars, and solutions in places where even trained engineers struggled. Slowly, she began to earn quiet respect, though no one admitted it openly. But for Elias, she had become more than just a rescued stranger. She was a friend, a partner in the workshop, a light in the long, lonely nights of space. Strange visitors. One evening, a new ship landed in the colony. Its design was sleek, with silver wings that folded like blades. The crew claimed to be merchants, but Elias felt something strange about them. Their eyes lingered too long on Sarai when she walked past. "They're not here for trade," Elias whispered to Captain Doran later. "You think they're Concord spies?" the captain asked. "Most likely," Elias said. "The Concord never forgets. If they hear Sarai is still here and thriving, they won't be pleased." The captain frowned. "Keep her out of sight for now. We cannot risk trouble." Elias nodded, but hiding Sarai was never simple. She was not a shadow anymore. She was learning to live. Sarai's curiosity. Sarai herself noticed the merchants. Their eyes felt sharp like knives. She avoided them, but a question burned inside her heart. "Why are they watching me?" That night, she asked Elias, "Do they hate me too?" Elias sighed. "They don't see you, Sarai. Not really. To them, you're just a symbol, something the Concord threw away. But to me, you're more than that." She lowered her glowing eyes. "And what if they take me back?" Elias placed a hand on her shoulder. "They won't. Not while I'm here." Something about his words gave her courage. A dangerous flight. The next morning, Elias decided to test Sarai's gift further. He brought her to the survey ship they had repaired together. "Today," he said, "we'll try something harder." Sarai tilted her head. "Harder?" He nodded. "A stellar storm is passing near the system. Most pilots would avoid it, but I think you can guide us through." Her eyes widened. "A storm? That is dangerous." "Yes," Elias admitted. "But I trust you." Those 3 words, "I trust you," made her chest tighten. She nodded slowly. "Then I will try." The ship lifted off, cutting through the sky into the endless black. Ahead of them, a storm of light and plasma swirled across space. It looked like a sea of fire, deadly and wild. Elias gripped the controls. "It's all you, Sarai. Tell me where to go." Sarai closed her eyes. She could feel it. The flow of energy, the invisible rivers between the storm's lightning arcs. She raised her hand, pointing. "There. Left now. Steady. Wait." Elias followed her commands, sweat dripping from his brow as the ship twisted and turned. Lightning streaks crashed close, but none touched them. Plasma waves rolled like mountains, but Sarai guided them through narrow paths. Her glowing eyes opened, shining brighter than ever. "Here, downward, then rise." The ship shot forward, slipping through the storm like a bird through a canyon. Finally, they burst out the other side. The stars stretched clear and calm before them. Elias let out a long breath, laughing. "You did it. By the stars, Sarai, you did it." Sarai's lips trembled. She had never felt such joy. For once, she was not worthless. For once, she had proven herself. The words she needed. That night, in the workshop, Elias looked at her across the table. The star projector painted the walls with constellations. "You weren't a curse, Sarai," he said softly. "You were a gift. The Concord gave you to mock us, but they only revealed your true worth." Her glowing eyes widened. Tears gathered in them, shining like tiny stars. "No one has ever said such things to me." "Well," Elias said with a smile, "they should have, because it's true." Sarai looked down at her clawed hands. "When I was young, they told me I was broken, that I would never belong. But now—" She looked up at him, voice trembling. "Now I feel I can belong." "You do," Elias replied firmly. For the first time, Sarai allowed herself to cry. Not from sadness, but from happiness. The spies grow bold, but the Concord spies had seen too much. They sent secret messages, reporting that the ugly gift was alive and valued, that she was growing stronger. One evening, Sarai overheard 2 of them whispering near the market. "The humans have ruined the plan. She was meant to be discarded, but now they treat her as treasure. The Concord will not forgive this." Sarai froze in the shadows, fear tightening her chest. She wanted to run, but Elias found her first. He guided her back to the workshop and listened to what she heard. His jaw tightened. Then we need to be ready. The conquered will come for you, Sarai, but we won't let them. Light in the dark that night, Elias decided Sarai needed something more than warnings. He set up the star projector again, filling the room with galaxies, planets, and glowing clusters. Do you see these stars? He asked. Sarai nodded, her glowing eyes wide with wonder. They're infinite, Elias said. Endless possibilities. And you, Sarai, you belong to them. You're not bound by what your people said or what the conquered thinks. You're meant to walk among the stars. He placed the projector control in her hands again. These stars are yours now. Guide them. Shape them. They're waiting for you. Sarai's fingers tightened around the device. She lifted her hand, and the stars shifted across the walls, constellations dancing at her command. Her heart raced. For the first time, she believed him. She was not just a discarded joke. She was something greater. A spark of wonder in the dark. A silent vow. When Elias left to rest, Sarai stayed behind in the starlit room. She gazed at the constellations she had moved. Her voice was soft, almost like a prayer. I will not go back to being nothing. I will not let them take this away. I will protect this place, and him. Because here, I was given a new name, a new life. Her glowing eyes reflected the stars as if she held them in her hands, and in that moment Sarai, once the ugly gift, became something far more, a symbol of what humanity could see when others only saw weakness. The unseen shadow, but even as she whispered her vow, the spies prepared their final message. The conquered fleet was already moving. They would come to claim her, and this time they would not leave without blood. The stars above Seven Dawn Colony looked calm, but beneath that calm danger was already moving. Far away beyond human reach, the conquered council gathered in their shining halls. The report from their spies burned with shame. The ugly gift, the one meant to humiliate humanity, was alive. She was not discarded, not forgotten. Instead, she was growing strong among the humans. She had found worth in their eyes. To the conquered, this was unacceptable. Humanity has taken what we gave as trash and turned it into treasure, one council member hissed. They make mockery of our judgment, another growled. This must end, the leader declared. The creature will be reclaimed and destroyed, and the humans will be punished for daring to defy us. Their fleets began to move. Shadows over the colony in Seven Dawn. The signs came slowly at first. Strange signals filled the skies. Merchant ships vanished. Distant satellites picked up large fleets moving closer. Captain Doran stood before the colony council, her expression hard. The conquered is coming. This is no rumor. Their ships are on the move. Fear spread through the room like fire. We cannot face them, one colonist cried. They'll destroy us all, another shouted. Elias stood at the edge of the chamber, Sarai beside him. She lowered her glowing eyes, trembling. The whispers pressed against her again, sharper than ever. This is because of her, someone muttered. She brought them here. If she leaves, maybe they will spare us. Sarai clenched her hands, her voice weak but steady. They are right. If I go to them, perhaps they will leave you in peace. Elias turned sharply. No, don't even think it, she flinched. But I do not want your people to suffer because of me. Elias stepped closer, his voice firm. Sarai, you are not their weapon. You are not their curse. If you go back, they'll destroy you, and they won't stop there. They want us afraid. They want us broken. But humanity does not give up its own. His words echoed through the chamber. Some still doubted, but others lifted their heads with courage. Captain Doran nodded slowly. Elias is right. If we surrender her, they will only demand more. We must stand together. Sarai's fear that night, Sarai sat alone in Elias's workshop, staring at the star maps. Her hands shook as she touched the projector, shifting constellations across the walls. Because of me, she thought. Because I stayed, they will all suffer. Memories of her old life returned, voices telling her she was worthless, broken, unwanted. The conquered's judgment had been final. She had no value. And yet Elias had called her beautiful. Elias had trusted her. She whispered into the silence. Why do you believe in me when even my own people did not? Elias entered quietly, placing a warm drink beside her. Because I can see who you really are. Sarai looked at him, her glowing eyes filled with fear. And who am I, Elias? He smiled gently. Someone who belongs. Someone worth protecting. Someone strong. Her lips trembled. For the first time, she wanted to believe him completely. Preparing for war, the colony began to prepare. Small ships were repaired, old weapons polished, defenses raised. They knew their chances were small. Concord fleets were vast and powerful. But humanity had faced impossible odds before. Elias worked day and night, fixing engines, building shields, and upgrading weapons. Sarai never left his side. She helped with repairs, her sharp eyes finding weak spots others missed. When the pilots gathered, Sarai stepped forward shyly. I can guide you. I can see the paths the stars make. I can lead you through dangers. Some doubted her. She's no pilot. She's not even human. But Elias raised his hand. She has already guided me through storms no pilot dared to enter. If you trust me, trust her. Reluctantly, the pilots agreed. Sarai's heart beat fast. She had never been trusted by so many before. The fleet arrives, the warning came at dawn. Conquered ships appeared on the edge of the system, enormous, shining. Vessels that blotted out the stars. Their weapons glowed with deadly light. The colony shook with fear. Captain Doran stood tall. They are here, all ships, prepare to launch. Elias looked at Sarai. This is it. Are you ready? Sarai's glowing eyes trembled, but she nodded. If you are with me, I am ready. They boarded the survey ship together. Other human pilots followed in their smaller craft, forming a fragile fleet against the vast Concord armada. The first battle. The Concord ships moved forward like a wall of fire. Their leader's voice thundered through the comms. Humans, you defied us. You corrupted the worthless one we discarded. Surrender her now, and we may spare a few of you. Elias answered coldly. We don't abandon our own. Not ever. The battle began. Human ships darted forward, firing small bursts of light. The Concorde responded with devastating beams that split the dark. Explosions lit the void as smaller craft were destroyed. Sarai, guide us! Elias shouted, her glowing eyes focused. She felt the flow of the battlefield, the rhythm of enemy fire. Left, then rise! 3 ships, follow me! Now! They obeyed. Concorde fire streaked past harmlessly. Human ships weaved through impossible gaps, striking back with precision. The pilots gasped in their comms. She's leading us through. Sarai's voice grew stronger. Upward now. Wait. Turn. They moved as she commanded, outmaneuvering ships far stronger than their own. Sarai's breaking point. But the Concord fleet was endless. Wave after wave pressed forward. Human ships fell one after another. Sarai's heart ached with every explosion. So many. Too many. Elias placed his hand over hers. Focus, Sarai. You're saving lives. Every moment you guide us more. Survive. She breathed deeply, forcing back her fear. Then I will not stop. Her glowing eyes blazed brighter than ever as she pointed again. Through the gap. Now. The fleet followed, cutting through enemy lines with impossible grace. Humanity's defiance. For hours the battle raged. The humans were outnumbered, outgunned, yet they held on. Not because of power, but because of Sarai's guidance and Elias's courage. On the conquered flagship, the alien commander hissed in fury. This cannot be. She was nothing. She was worthless. But in the void, Sarai's voice rang clear. I am not worthless. Not anymore. The human fleet echoed her cry with renewed strength. A narrow escape. At last, Captain Doran gave the order. All ships retreat, follow Sarai's path. Sarai traced a hidden route through a collapsing star cluster nearby. It was dangerous. Plasma waves, debris, unstable gravity. But it was their only chance. Trust me, she whispered. The fleet followed. Concord ships chased, but the path was too unstable. One by one, their massive vessels were torn apart by the collapsing star's fury. The humans emerged battered, but alive. The colony of 7 Dawn still stood. Sarai's doubt back in the workshop. Sarai sat silently, her hands shaking. So many died because of me. Elias knelt beside her, lifting her chin gently. No, Sarai. They died because the conquered hates us. You saved far more than you lost. Her glowing eyes filled with tears. I wanted to run. I almost gave myself up. But you didn't, Elias said. You stayed, and because of you, we're still here. He smiled softly. You were never their curse. You were always our star. Sarai trembled, then smiled weakly through her tears. For the first time, she believed she could be more than what the conquered called her. She was not their mistake. She was humanity's hope. The conquered's rage, but far away. In their shining halls, the Concord was not finished. Their commander slammed a claw against the table. They humiliated us. That creature humiliated us. The humans will pay with everything they have. And so, a new fleet was prepared. Larger, deadlier, unstoppable. The war for Sarai's future had only begun. The silence of space was never truly quiet. It was a tense, waiting kind of silence, like the moment before a storm hits. In the orbit above 7 Dawn, the human fleet hovered, battered but determined. Sarai stood on the bridge of the lead ship, her glowing eyes scanning the stars. Elias stood beside her, his hand brushing against hers. She flinched slightly at the warmth, but allowed it. The Concord fleet loomed closer each day, countless vessels shining like deadly fireflies. This is it, Elias said quietly. We either win or we fall. But I know we can do this. You've guided us through worse already. Sarai swallowed, gripping the control panel. I can't fail. Not after everything. You won't fail, Elias assured her. Not while I'm here. Her chest tightened. For months she had learned to trust humans, to trust herself. But now the Concord's full wrath was coming. She could feel it in her bones. The Concord arrives. The Concord fleet emerged from the void like a silver wall, their massive ships blocked, outdistant stars, their weapons glowing ominously. On the lead vessel, the Concord commander hissed into the comms. Humans, you defied us. That creature we gave you, she is ours. Surrender her now and perhaps your species may survive. Elias's voice was steady as he replied. She is not yours. She is ours, and we will fight for her. Sarai's heart pounded. Every instinct told her to hide, to run. But she could not. Not when humans, her friends, trusted her. Not when Elias trusted her. The battle begins. Lasers and plasma bolts filled the void as the Concord fired first. The human fleet was outnumbered, outgunned, but not outwitted. Sarai, guide us, Elias shouted. Her glowing eyes focused, piercing the darkness. She could feel the flow of energy, the currents between the stars, the paths the enemy could not predict. Left, now, rise, wait, forward, quick! The human ships darted through asteroid fields, weaving around debris, dodging plasma fire. Each move Sarai called out saved lives. Pilots gasped, amazed at her instincts. You're incredible, one said over the comms. I'm just following her lead, another added. Sarai's small frame was tense, but her mind was clear. She was no longer the frightened, discarded girl the Conquered had sent. She was a guide, a leader, a star among the stars. Turning the tide hours passed in chaos. Explosions ripped through the void. Ships fell, some human, some conquered. Yet each moment brought new hope. Now, through the gap, Sarai commanded. A narrow passage between a cluster of dying asteroids opened ahead. Follow me. Trust me. Human pilots hesitated for only a moment, then obeyed. The fleet followed Sarai's every instruction, weaving through the collapsing debris like a single living organism. The Concord fleet struggled to follow. Their massive ships could not move as quickly or as carefully. One by one, their vessels were damaged or destroyed by the collapsing asteroids. Elias let out a breath he hadn't realized he was holding. By the stars. She's doing it. Sarai felt the thrill and fear in equal measure. She was guiding her people, saving her friends, and proving herself to the galaxy. Sarai's courage. After the first wave passed, Sarai's hands trembled on the controls. Elias placed a steadying hand over hers. "You're doing it," he whispered. "You're saving everyone." "I'm scared," Sarai admitted. "If I fail? If they catch me?" "You won't," Elias said firmly. "Not today. You've held the stars in your hands before, now you hold them for everyone." She swallowed and nodded. Her glowing eyes burned brighter as she gave orders. Forward, left, rise, wait. Each direction precise, each maneuver saving lives, even. The pilots began to trust her instinctively. For the first time, Sarai felt the weight of responsibility, not as a burden, but as power. The final push, the Concorde commander roared in fury. "Impossible. This child should have been nothing." But the human fleet pressed forward, guided by Sarai's intuition. They lured the enemy into dangerous zones, exploiting narrow paths and gravitational anomalies. Elias leaned close to her, whispering, "The Concorde thought she was worthless. They thought they were stronger. But they never counted on what humanity sees in courage, hope, and heart." Sarai's heart surged. Every star, every route, every movement she guided was proof. Proof that she was not a curse. Proof that she was needed. The human fleet pressed through the final obstacle, a cluster of unstable asteroids, larger and more dangerous than anything before. The Concorde tried to follow. One by one, their massive ships were torn apart. Explosions, lighting the void like deadly fireworks. Victory. When the last Concorde vessel was destroyed or forced to retreat, silence returned to the stars. The human fleet was battered, some ships damaged, but alive. Sarai slumped into the captain's chair, trembling but smiling. Elias sat beside her, lifting her hands. "You did it," he said simply. "You saved them all." Sarai's glowing eyes filled with tears. I couldn't have done it without you." "No," Elias said gently. "You did it. I only followed. You. You are the one who held the stars." For the first time, Sarai truly understood. The Concorde had sent her as a joke, a symbol of weakness. But humanity had shown them something they never understood: the value of life, the strength of hope, and the courage of the unexpected. A new beginning back at the colony, the people greeted Sarai as a hero. Children ran to touch her hands, laughing. Adults bowed in respect. Even those who had once doubted her now whispered her name with awe. Captain Doran approached her. "You are not just a guest here, Sarai. You are one of us. Always." Sarai lowered her glowing eyes, overwhelmed. I never imagined." "You imagined," Elias said, smiling. "You just needed someone to see it. And now the galaxy knows it too." The stars in her hands. That night, Elias brought Sarai back to the workshop. The star projector glowed, casting constellations across the walls. "Now," he said, "the stars are truly in your hands." Sarai held the control device carefully. She moved her hands, shifting constellations across the walls. Each movement was graceful, precise, and beautiful. She smiled. "Do you see?" Elias asked. "The Concorde wanted to destroy you. The galaxy tried to tell you you were nothing. But look at what you've done." Sarai's glowing eyes shone brighter than ever. I was given as a joke. But now, I can create wonder. I can protect. I can guide." Elias nodded. "Exactly. And this is only the beginning. The stars are yours. The future is yours." A legend. Begins word of Seven Dawn's victory spread across human and alien worlds alike. Tales were told of the discarded girl who became the guiding star of humanity, of the colony that stood against the conquered and survived, of Sarai, the one they called ugly, and who became a symbol of courage and hope. She no longer felt small or worthless. Her past, her people's judgment, the Concord's mockery, it all belonged to another life. She had found her place. She had found herself. Elias stood beside her, watching her move constellations on the wall. "You were never a curse," he said softly. "You were waiting for the right eyes to see you, and now the galaxy can see you too." Sarai smiled, her glowing eyes reflecting countless stars. "I will never forget," she whispered, "and I will never stop protecting this place, and these people." In that moment, the discarded gift became a legend. The girl who held the stars in her hands, who guided humanity through impossible odds, who turned mockery into strength, into hope, into wonder. And humanity, as it always did, rose proud and free. The stars had found their rightful place in her hands.